So settling in, closing your eyes, just making sure you feel comfortable. So the other lessons have all been looking at the chakras. It's interesting. On Wednesday evening, I was saying to people, we've only got to heart chakra. Shall I continue with them after Christmas? And they all went, oh, but you don't care, do you? So this might be the last chakra class I do for a while. But shall we just take our awareness down through the body anyway? So settling in, closing your eyes. And if you could then just bring your inner gaze up to the space just between your eyebrows. So that's your Anya chakra. And it's at this place we are said to develop our inner wisdom. So this sense of observing the body and all that happens within it. And then sending your vision down the spine, all the way down to the base of your pelvis. So here at the base of your pelvis, we're going to find muladora chakra. So here we find our survival instinct, self-preservation. So what makes us feel stable within our lives? Often it's having enough, isn't it, to feel secure. So sometimes our insecurities can come from having too little money, or just even daft things. I feel unstable and a little bit worried if I've not got enough bread in the house and I suddenly have to rush out to shop and buy some. I like to feel that everything, that we're provided for and that we're comfortable and we don't have to worry about anything. So what would make you happy in this place? Just making sure you have enough in your life to feel settled. And just moving up into the sacrum, we have Svadhisthana chakra. So one's own abode, sacral chakra, governs our sexuality, reproduction, creativity, desire, and the desire to experience pleasure and contentment and create things. So do you find it easy to let go of, the shackles of life and enjoy things? Do you find it easy to laugh? Would you say you're creative? And it's just find that balance of not taking that pleasure principle too far, having just the right amount of it in your life. Then just moving up to belly button and just feeling here your belly rising and falling, feeling your life force. And this is where we dwell upon Manipura chakra, so digestion, vitality, and the power to do what we want. So feeling confident to take on life. So when it's in balance, we're happy to involve ourselves in the world, tackle things with confidence. So do you feel effective in directing yourself in your life? Because a lack of confidence can hold you back. So what do you do to gain more confidence in things? And we move to Anahata chakra, just at the heart, just moving up that little space into the ribs. So this is where we're going to develop our ability to connect with other people, give and receive love. So we're not feeling too happy in this place, we might feel isolated and a bit closed off. So it's always nice just to kind of reflect upon your relationships with people and how welcoming you are. Do you push people away, or do you receive people with affection? So then bringing your focus up into your throat, Vishuddha chakra. So communication, how we express our feelings, articulate thoughts and speech. So do you feel that you're very expressive? Can you verbalise your ideas? And are you also a good listener? Then moving back to Anya chakra, the space between the eyes. So this is our command centre, witnessing, observing thoughts that arise. And can we put these thoughts into action? And then crown chakra is just this place where we feel just completely connected and plugged into the world, open to new ideas. So although today's lesson initially was a heart chakra one, you can't really work in one chakra without developing our others. So let's move our awareness down to our feet and just begin to circle your feet, point your toes, wiggle your ankles, whatever it is, just to begin to wake up into this space. Excuse me. And then relaxing your feet, standing your feet up. Excuse me, I've suddenly felt a frog in my throat. I'm had a issue, the chakras all out. And placing your hands just on the back of your right leg. Excuse me. Actually, that's an outrageous line. I want you to place your hands on your right knee. And then slowly begin to extend your right foot up to the ceiling and let your left hand move up towards your right foot. And then slowly rebend your knee. So we're doing that thing we did the other week. So you're taking hand to foot, foot to hand, finding all the nice ways you can touch your toe, touch your ankle, maybe touching the outside edge of your right foot. So we're just beginning to wake up the muscles of the legs. Placing your right foot down, taking your right hand over onto your left leg, and again slowly extending your left leg up to the ceiling and taking your hand to the foot. So using both limbs to touch each other. So you're going to feel maybe your right shoulder leaving the floor. You're certainly going to feel your left hip moving away from the floor. Maybe point your toes, maybe don't point your toes, maybe push your heel to the ceiling. Turning your knee in, can you touch your outer ankle? Turning your knee out, can you touch your inner ankle? And then just letting your feet rest into the floor, straightening out your right leg, keep your left leg bent. Opening out your arms at shoulder height. Place your left hand on your heart center and then slowly sliding your left hand out along your right arm. Looking with your eyes, feeling how you can begin to roll over onto your right side. That gentle press of your left foot turns the body. See if you can keep your knee standing up. Just put for a moment, pause and rest, and just feel your left foot resting into the floor, and then slowly unwind onto your back again. And just do that a few times. Left hand moves over to the right arm, the right wrist, and notice it's the merest of presses into that foot, feeling how you can turn the body. Just do that a few times. So just beginning to feel how we can move from that foot into the ribs and that heart center. So just taking your time, just think about it being the easiest thing, leading with your hand, feel the elbow, feel the shoulder, feel the ribs, feel the hips. And then soften down onto your back, and then extend your right leg out, so your left leg out, and we're going to take that to the right side. So bending your right knee, placing your foot on the floor, and then placing your right hand on the center of your chest. Start to slide your right hand over towards the left wrist, and again rolling all the way over onto that left side. And again, just pause for a second, feel your right foot on the floor, keep the knee standing up. And then again, slowly unwind onto your back and just take your time just to explore that movement. And then settling down onto your back. Bringing both feet in so you can feel them just in front of your hips. And then taking your right knee into the body. Place your left hand on top of the right knee. And then your right hand just going to go behind your head like a little pillow. And then let the elbow just kind of drop out onto the floor by just by your right ear. So we're going to then lean, press, roll the tailbone into the floor. Let your lower back float up off the floor so that tummy begins to lengthen. Again, you should have a little gap behind your lower back. And then with your belly button, pull the navel into the spine, feel the lower back flatten. Keep bringing yourself into a ball. So you're going to bring the chin in towards the chest, curling up, letting that right elbow move towards the right knee. And then release slowly back down. Drop the elbow wide and press the tailbone into the floor. So again, arching that lower back as you come down. Exhale, navel comes in, lower back flattens, bring the chin to chest, curling up. In, then coming all the way back down. Inhaling on the floor, roll the tailbone forwards. Exhale, lower back comes into the floor, curling up. This time as you come down to the floor and you arch your back and your right big toe finds the floor, keep that arch in the back but straighten your right leg. Slide the foot along the floor. At the end of that movement, push the heel away. So again, we've still got that lower back arched, but this time we're pushing that heel away. So it's almost like you're trying to lengthen as much as you can that right side and then let go. Just soften into the floor for a moment. Then bring that right foot back in, let it stand next to the left leg and then repeating. So you bring the knee to the belly, left hand on the right knee. Inhale, rolling the tailbone forward, pressing the right elbow back towards the floor. And then exhale, lower back comes into the floor, chin to chest, curling up. Inhaling, relaxing back down. And then again, roll the tailbone so the heart begins to lift. And then keeping the right big toe on the floor, straighten the leg out, push the heel away, and then let go of everything. Soften into the floor. Sliding your right foot back so it meets the left. So throughout all this practice, you've got the arching and flattening going on. So we inhale, roll the tailbone forwards, press the right elbow back. And then exhale, lower back comes into the floor, chin to chest, curl up towards the right knee. Inhale, lay back down, roll the tailbone into the floor, press the right elbow back, and then again, straighten the right leg, slide it forward, push the heel away, and then let go. Just bring your head to the floor, arms down by your side, straighten your left leg, and just feel your right side. It might just feel a little bit more vibrant, more alive, flatter, longer, lots of things it might feel. So then standing both feet up, we're going to do the same thing with the left side. So bring your left knee in towards you. Right hand drops onto the left kneecap. Left hand goes behind the head. And again, the elbow drops out. Inhale, roll the tailbone forward. Feel the lower back arching off the floor. Exhale, lower back comes into the floor, chin to chest, elbow curls up towards the left knee. Inhale, lay down, arching the spine. So again, roll the tailbone away, press that left elbow back. And then again, exhale, lower back comes into the floor, curling up towards the knee. Inhale, lay down, arching again the lower back. Exhale, curling up towards the knee. And then we're going to add in that little leg straightener. So as you come down this time and roll the tailbone forwards, pressing the left elbow to the floor. Keep your left foot on the floor, but slide it forward, straighten the leg, push the heel away. Again, that lower back is arched. Feel how that lower back is lifted off the floor, and then let go. Soften, and then bring the left leg to stand up next to the right leg. Just repeating, so bring the left knee in towards the body. Inhale, arch the spine, bring the elbow back. Exhale, curling up, left elbow goes towards the left knee. Inhale, lay down, arch. And again, slide the left foot forwards along the floor, push the heel away, lower back is arched. And then exhale, let go, just soften. So we're going to do the final one now. So bring that left foot back up so it's by the right. And then inhale, arch the lower back. Exhale, curling up, left elbow towards the left knee. It might be that you notice the knee and elbow come a lot closer than they used to by now. Releasing down. Sliding the foot away. So again, keep the arch with the lower back. Push the heel away to spread to the ceiling. And then let go. Just taking your head down to the floor and just extend the legs out for a moment. Just check in on your imprint. That's a somatic movement, but I think it's really quite dynamic. It's working with lots of areas in the body just to kind of wake up muscles, to release tension. A fantastic, say, warm up, I would say. Anyway, so we're gonna bend both knees, taking your hands around the back of your right thigh. So keep your left foot on the floor, hands around the back of the right thigh, and then slowly begin to unbend your right leg to the ceiling. Just take your time to do that. Just do that a few times, noticing that as you push that foot to the ceiling, the lower back often feels a little bit heavier. It kind of presses into the floor. So what we're going to do now is extend the foot up and then push it forwards. As you push it forwards, tuck the chin and curl up. Keep looking at your right knee. Rebend your right knee and soften down to the floor. Inhaling, extending the right leg up and then push it forwards, but tuck the chin and curl up, looking at your right knee. Rebend the knee, soften down, and then this time straighten out your left leg, have it on the floor. So we're going to extend the right leg up, push it forwards, keep pushing it until you come to seated. When you come to seated, untuck the hands, bring hands in front of you and slowly roll back to the floor. Bringing both feet in, this time moving your left leg up to the ceiling. So taking your hands around the back of the left hamstring. And again, slowly unbend the knee a few times. And then unbend the knee, push it forward, tuck the chin, curling up. Rebend the knee, send you back to the floor. So extend the leg, push it forward, curling up. Rebend the knee, send you back to the floor. Straighten out your right leg on the next one. So again, push the leg forward, tuck the chin, keep pushing till you come up to seated. Bringing your hands forwards, release back down to the floor. So we're going to do one leg at a time this time. So straighten out your left leg, bring your right leg in. So extend up with your right leg, push it forwards, curl up. Hands come forwards, releasing down. Keep your right leg straight, bring your left leg in, hands behind the left leg, push forward, tuck the chin, curl up. Hands come forwards, rolling down. Just going to do that a couple more times. So as you lay down, extend the right leg up, hands behind the hamstring, push forwards, curl up. Hands forwards, take your time to roll back down. Left leg comes up, push forwards, curl up. And curling back down. Bringing both knees in this time. Take your hands around the backs of both the legs. Pushing your feet forwards, lift your chin, curl up. And as you come up, can you hug your knees in? So you're going to sit on your sit bones. Keep your hands behind your thighs. Can you straighten out your shins so they're kind of level with the floor? And then think about lifting your heart up so tummy is nice and tight, bringing your arms forwards, coming into boat pose. Take your time to cross your ankles and take a seat. And then move in towards the back of your mat. Hands slide forwards, coming down into our kind of, what is it, downward facing child pose, if that even a name of a word, of a movement. Just take your awareness into your breath. So moving from here into child's pose. So we're just going to drop our knees into the floor, untuck your feet, and take a seat at the back of your mat. So let's push into shins, floating up to all fours, dropping your weight into your hands, coming into a plank of some description. So knees on the floor might feel good. Pushing heels away might feel even better. So we've got kneeling plank, we've got kneeling, not kneeling plank. So from here, see how you feel. You can either drop your knees and come down to the floor, or you could just slowly lower yourself down, or you might want to come down through chaturanga. So bending the elbows in, take your time, find the floor. I like to come completely onto the floor before doing anything else. So if you were to come from chaturanga forwards into cobra, you might end up injuring your shoulders. So always come down first, spread your hands, and then keep looking at the floor, but think about the back of your head and your neck and your chest floating up and back. So peeling yourself up into cobra. Exhale, come down. Inhale. We could again come up into our up dog, or we could tuck our toes under and see if we can push ourselves back up into plank. Then drop the knees and soften back down into child's pose. So again, pushing with the shins, floating up. So finding what feels like a decent plank of some description. So coming down, so it could be, again, we're going to drop the knees and just, with control, take yourself down. It might be you're going to come down with that very controlled kind of press up in reverse, which is called chaturanga, and then come all the way down to the floor, drop the forehead down, feel the forehead and nose, and then keep looking at the floor so that back of the neck is lengthened. You want to feel that you're using the muscles of the back to come up into your cobra, lengthening back through toes, and then soften down. Using your hands again to rise up. Again, maybe come back through plank if you wish, and then drop the knees and soften back. Using those hands to take you all the way to the end of the mat. So again, pushing up through into plank. Coming down again. So I'm trying the chaturanga version, so I'm keeping my knees off the floor as much as I can, and then dropping down. Rising up, keeping that gaze neutral, keeping the back of the neck lengthened, using the muscles of the back. Exhale, softening down. Inhale, using those hands, and again, lifting the knees up, feeling my plank, then dropping the knees and softening down. Just playing with that just a few more times. So maybe, explore different ways. So I'm going to come down with knees down. I'm not even planking on this one. And then settle down. So using your shins again to come up to all fours. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees up. So just imagine you've got something resting on your back, something really, really silly on your back. I don't know, for some reason, I'm thinking now I've got a cagatillo, that little Spanish wooden log I was telling you about resting on my back. I don't want it to fall off. So I'm just going to push into toes, hover the knees, pushing down through fingertips. And then I'm bringing my weight forwards over fingertips and pushing back. So bringing weight forwards over fingertips, keeping the knees off the floor and pushing back. So I can feel the bottom going over my heels. Feel that spine is long throughout. And then I'm going to begin to keep rolling back, extending out into downward facing dog. So leading with your toes, press down into toes, feel yourself floating forwards, bending your knees, come back to hover. Again, floating forwards over the fingertips, pushing hands forwards, feeling the bottom go back towards the heels, bringing shoulders forwards over fingertips. And then again, push yourself back, keep the spine straight, rolling out into downward facing dog. And as you're in your dog, push into toes, feel yourself floating forwards, lead with your heels, feel yourself being drawn back into dog. Pushing forwards, feel your weight floating forwards over your fingertips. And then leading with your heels. As you bring your heels to floor, it brings your thighs back, lengthens your hips back, lengthens your spines, taking you towards your dog. So lead with your toes and your heels. And then again, push through your toes, start to bend your knees, coming back to hover. And then final time, move back to dog. We're going to stay in dog just for 5 breaths. So if you maybe just want to reposition your hands, it might be a nice position, nice thing to do. And then begin to walk your hands in towards your feet, dropping into fold. So you're going to feel your heels become heavier. Make sure that fold feels comfortable. So, maybe reposition your toes so that they feel, make sure that your feet are wide enough for your hips. Don't have your feet together. Go with what feels good for your hips and your fold. Bending knees is always a good idea. And then starting to bend your knees to come down towards the crouch. So from here, push into feet, unbend the legs, come back to fold. Look towards the front of your mat and then walk your hands there, coming back towards your downward facing dog. Pushing hands forwards, guide yourself back to dog. Pushing with the toes, bend the knees, come down to hover. And then again, bringing yourself back into dog, leading with your heels. Walking hands back towards your feet, send you back into fold. And rebend your knees, coming down towards your crouch. From crouch, again, it's a push from the feet, travels up the legs, bending the legs into fold. Look into the front of the mat, walk your hands forwards, back towards your dog. Pushing with the toes, bringing shoulders over the wrists, bend the knees, come down to hover. And again, moving with those heels, roll them back towards the floor, unbend, back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards the feet, coming down into crouch. So this is where we're going to start to play a little bit more. So I like that as a sequence. If you hate what we're going to do, you could always come in and out of that one. So you're basically walking back into dog and not. So crow. So the crow I'm going to do today is one with the knees behind the arms. So I bring my hands are never close together. They're always wide by the sides of the mat. And then I'm sliding them in so I can feel the arms hit my knees. And then I go up onto toes, lifting bottom up. I've actually come right out of position. And then bringing again those knees. So I can feel the knees under the armpits, on the backs of the arms, and then bringing that weight forward into my hands. Feeling the toes get a little bit lighter. And just taking my time to lift one toe at a time off the floor. Releasing down, coming back into a crouch, usually very happily. And then again, unbend the knees, coming back into fold. Looking back towards the front of the mat. Walking forwards back into your downward facing dog. Rebending the knees. Coming back to hover, or you might even just want to come back to child at this moment in time. But again, eventually I'm going to move back to dog. And then moving back into fold. You can see a bit of a pattern emerging here, can't you? Coming from my fold into crouch. And then this is where you might want to try doing a headstand or not. So obviously you can avoid headstands. You could go into crow. From the headstand, I'm going into tripod one. So again, the hands are wide. In fact, I'm going to bring my knees onto the floor this time. Hands are wide. I'm trying to think of creating an equilateral triangle. So I'm going to bring my head kind of forwards onto the floor. So it's like I'm taking a bow. And if you don't want to do a headstand, what you could just do is actually just kind of roll your forehead to the crown of the head so you feel the back of the neck lengthening. So that's quite nice. In fact, this is actually a pose called bunny. If you really wanted to, let's see that. I'm going to take you towards bunny. So just let's have a little look at you. So just coming onto your knees with your hands down just in front of your knees. Again, think about that. If you try and draw like a pyramid triangle, equilateral, your head's going to be in the center, well away from your hands. So I bring the forehead onto the floor, and then you're just going to start to roll your weight onto the crown of the head. Just feel the back of the neck lengthening, and just do that a few times. So your bottom lifts up off your heels. And what is bunny actually is, if you just pause, bring your hands onto the nape of your lower back, so onto your sacrum, and knit the fingers together. And then you bring your forehead, you roll onto the crown of the head. And as you do that, take your arms forward. So really, you're making the silhouette of a rabbit. You've got the ears and the hair, you've got the hump of the rabbit, and I guess your feet is where its tail is, isn't it? And then slowly rolling back into your child's play pose. Just bring your hands onto the floor and take a seat. You have a look at your bunnies actually, because I was too busy doing the bunny to see it. So let me have a little look at your bunnies. You don't even know. You don't have to, a bunny. Have a little look. So there you go. Yeah. So you're rolling from your forehead onto the crown of your head and bringing your arms forward. That's the bunny. There you go. Whee! And then come back out of it. So if you wanted to do a headstand, I'd say bunny is an alternative, as is doing nothing at all as an alternative. So my headstand, again, I'm starting in this crouch. My hands are on the floor. Bringing my head to that place where I did the bunny. But I'm going to then I'm looking at my elbow. So I've got my wrist and my elbow roughly stacked, palms on the floor, and then I'm lifting my bottom up. And then I'm going to walk my feet in, and I'm going to drop my knees onto my elbows. And then from here, let your knees rest on the elbows and the toes come away from the floor. And then from down, roll back. Oh, I like how some of us are not doing it. Ooh. So walking knees into elbows. I don't mind doing this one because I feel like if you feel a little bit unsteady, you can come down. Wowza. I can see a more brave headstand than mine. Okay. Settle back down. Okay, so coming back towards the end of the mat. Coming back into crouch. And then now I've got an idea what I want to do. Should piece it all together. So it might be you go into child and don't do anything at the end. So we're going to press into fold, take a fold. Look back towards the front of the mat, walking hands back towards your downward facing dog. Floating over onto all fours, knees hovering if you wish. And then moving back into downward facing dog. So again, this is where you're going to be playful, where you don't have, you can add in something crazy. You could come back to where you feel more comfortable. So that is what I'm asking you to do. Go with what makes you feel happiest. So I'm going to come down to crouch and I'm going to explore coming into that headstand because I don't do them enough, and I'm going to try. Rolling back into crouch at the end. Oh, I can see crows, I can see all sorts. And then let's come down onto our knees. Bringing yourself into hero's pose. So tuck your toes under, looking forward, resting your hands on your knees. And then start to bring yourself up onto your knees. As you bring yourself up onto your knees, feel your heart coming forwards, bringing your gaze up towards the sky. Take your hands down to heart center and step your right foot forward. So looking down towards your right knee, bring your belly down onto the thigh. So we're coming into something that they did last week now and throughout this week's practices. So using your right foot, press it into the floor, feel your left knee lift, unbend and settle into our Parsvatanasana pose. Leaning forward from your pelvis, so lengthen first, keep your spine nice and straight, and then round the spine, let your hands come down, rebend your left knee and settle down to the floor. Pushing into your right foot, feel your left knee begin to float. Slowly unbend that left leg and straighten up. Looking forwards. Looking down towards your right big toe, rebend your left knee. Take your time to lower the left knee and come down to the floor. Settling in. And we're just doing that 3 more times. So feel that right foot pressing, unbending the left knee. And again, slowly releasing down. So we're trying to do that with as much control as possible. I tend to feel fatigue through my left side. You'll notice your weaker side kind of saying hello throughout this little bit, I tend to find. So the next time we come into our standing pose, keep your left foot on the floor and look forwards. Take your left hand onto your left hip and float your right hand up towards the ceiling. We're going to keep these ribs and pelvis aligned if we can. So if you just bring your left hand onto the front of your ribs, there's one that sits a little bit further back. So I like to maybe just, if you just keep your thumb and your little finger on the pelvis and those ribs, that is going to stop us from bringing that heart forward. So keep that sense of neutrality through the middle of the body. Lower your gaze down towards your right big toe. Keep the right knee slightly soft. Take an inhale and fold from the hips, keeping that steady watch on the ribs. Reaching forwards and then take your right hand down onto your shin, and then take your left hand up and out and moving into triangle pose. Turning the body back towards the floor. Give the hips a wiggle. Pushing with your right foot, rising up and stepping into your right foot. As you do that, bring your left foot in behind you. Can you take hold of your left ankle? So you're trying to keep the knee underneath your pelvis, trying to create a nice line down from that center of the body, from the knee to heart. Raising your right arm. Push your left foot into your hand and allow yourself to bow forward, keeping that knee behind the pelvis. Unhook, bringing the left foot around over the right thigh and take the foot to the floor, bringing your hands to heart center. Begin to bend your right knee and take that left foot off the floor. Could you hook the foot behind your right calf? Unhook, step in your left foot back, taking your hands onto your right side, looking down towards your right big toe. Start to walk your hands down and soften into Parsvottanasana. So as you're bringing yourself down, maybe you're going to keep a hand on a calf, maybe the fingertips reach the floor, particularly if you've got really long arms like myself has. And firstly, just think about lengthening your spine. So looking down to the floor. So often we think about straightening the spine, we might look forwards. Keep the back of the neck lengthened. Think about from your pelvis through your belly, through your ribs, what your spine is doing. What is your spine doing? And then begin to bend your elbows. Let your belly start to come closer to your thighs. So don't need to strain, just let your elbows begin to bend. And because these arms are, lead up to your shoulders, the body should start to fall softly forward. Then have a look at your feet. What are your feet doing? Are your feet pointing forward? Have a little play with your feet. What feels good in your hips? It's interesting. I follow a teacher and she's all about, body yoga's meant to be holistic and feel right for your body. And then we give instructions that your feet must be in a particular way. And I'm just asking everybody now just to play with what feels right for your hips. You might end up doing something different with your feet. And then slowly lower yourself down and take a seat again on your heels, looking forward. And then again, pushing down with your knees, bring yourself up, looking up to your hands, taking your hands to heart center, take your left foot forward. We've got to remember how to do all that again. So belly comes down onto thighs, fingertips to floor. Heel is going to need to be grounded because we're going to use that push of the left leg to come up. So we're only doing this about 5 or 6 times. Slowly push into your left foot. Feel your right knee lift. Keep that push in the left foot. Rise up and again, drop the right heel into the floor. Folding forwards, looking down, rebending the right knee. Take your time to come slowly, slowly down. And then again, pushing with your left foot, right knee lifts. Keep that push from that left foot to drive you to standing. Look down, rebend the knee, take your time. Again, push to rise up. Rebend the knee, coming down. Push to rise up. And then this next time we stay up and we move towards our triangle pose, don't we? So again, take your time to find your sense of grounding once you're there. And all I ask when you come to standing is that your pelvis is facing forward. So again, just make sure your feet, your knees, everything feels happy enough to allow this forward movement. So again, I'm just going to bring that thumb and little finger onto those ribs so I can watch what they're doing. Raising the left arm. Looking down towards that left big toe. Inhale. Exhale, folding forward. So again, I'm just trying not to push the ribs forward, trying to keep the spine relatively straight. And then I'll lower the hand down to make contact with the shin. Bringing the arm out at shoulder height and then turning the chest into triangle pose. I do tend to notice my right heel turns in. That makes sense to me. Just play with hugging your ribs in towards your spine. So when we do this, it tends to be that the underside is lengthened and the top side tends to have a little bit of a kink in it. Pull the ribs in a little bit and you'll feel the upper side lengthen out a little bit. Okay, turning the body back towards the floor. Pressing into your left leg brings you to standing and then hop forward, taking your right foot up, so there's it up behind you. Totally cheated and held the wall. And again, so when we're doing our bow pose, we're trying to keep that knee and pelvis at the very least aligned. Bringing the hand up. And then finding how, I'm not so good on this side. I'm only going to push a little bit on this right side, and I'm taking my time to find my bow pose. Coming back to standing, hooking the right leg over the left, bringing the hands to heart, and again, just taking a little bend of that left knee coming into our eagle legs. Straightening up, stepping the right foot back. Lowering your hand down onto your thigh. Again, the movement starts at the pelvis. Walking forward, so again, as you're coming down, trying to keep that length through the spine as you come down first. And then bend the elbows and let the lower back, let the upper back begin to round down. Again, hands can be wherever they need to be it on a calf, be it on a block, be it on the floor. And then again, have a little look at your back leg. See what it's doing. Turn the toes out, turn the toes in. Get that sense of what feels strong, grounded, and correct for your hips, for your knees. So lower all the way down. Hey, and it might sound really weird, have you got walls? Some of you have got walls, haven't you? Have you got a wall that you can use in your houses? I'm just looking at some. I can see some are ready to use. That's a thumb. I'm not going to make you do anything stupid like a handstand. I'm just going to let you be really lazy and use a wall. So I've got this lovely one. It's a good wall for handstands, but honestly, it matters anything. Can't focus, fall over every time I look at it. But it's great for this pose, which is Viparasa Karani, I think it's called. It's called now. It's really good on the Sanskrit words. Viparita Karani, there you go. And it's basically lazy leg relaxing pose. So you come close to a wall, and then you'd swing your legs up against it, and you could then go and relax with your legs wide. You could put a block underneath your bottom. So basically, all you're asking really is for your sacrum to feel grounded. So if you're against this wall, only really close, but your bottom's off the wall, you'd need to walk a little bit further back so that you can feel your sacrum is grounded. And then whatever you choose to do with your legs is a comfort thing. So get yourself to, you've got to rearrange your house there. I'm really sorry, Jenny. What can you do? Oh, you're going to use that. Okay. That's not the stairs, is it? Don't fall down the back of your stairs. You're not going to fall. I think you're all right, actually. Okay, so lay yourself down, and then you're just taking your legs up onto whatever it is. And then again, just make sure that your pelvis is on the floor, and then you can just let your spine begin to relax onto the floor. If it feels comfortable to you, you could spread your arms out at shoulder height. You could maybe even bring your hands all the way above your head. There you go. And just start to settle into your breath. So just a few little restful poses for us to complete today. So if you did have the space available to you, widen out your feet and start to walk them into a wide-legged posture. And it's up to you how far you go. What I like about this is that you've got that wall as a little comfort. You know, it's possible to do this without a wall, but it becomes a bit of a stress pose. So you've got the wall for you to lean your heels into, and you just go as far as feels comfortable to you. So I'm not going to say go to your fullest extent, go to where feels like a good place to hang out. Bring your awareness into your breath. You might find after a few moments that the space between your legs is easier to get a little bit wider. I'm not asking you to make it wide, but it might be that what was not available to you previously becomes available as these muscles on the inner edges of the thighs begin to let go of the tension that we hold. And that inner thigh thing, it's part of the red light reflex within everybody. You know, if someone was to jump out on you and startle you, often we want to curl up into a ball, and these inner thigh muscles are very active in that action. So placing your hands on the outer edges of your thighs, begin to walk your feet up your wall. And just think about your feet being over your pelvis, your hips and pelvis, your pelvis. Just let your feet rest into the wall just for a second. Maybe even roll your ankles from side to side. And then walking your feet in towards you. We can actually go into a pigeon from here. So placing your right ankle over onto your left knee. You might need to walk again away from the wall a little bit for this one, particularly if you can feel sensations in the lower back that feel unpleasant. So again, if it feels like that, you would take yourself away from the wall a little bit. And then depending on your hips and how you feel this, you know, some of us don't feel this movement, some of us do. You would walk the left foot further down the wall. That increases the sensation in your right hip. So switching legs. So again, standing both feet onto the wall, taking your left ankle over onto your right knee. And again, check in on your lower back, check in on your hips. And again, it's that exploration of having the right leg straight and then beginning to walk it down that wall and just feeling into that left hip joint, the left buttock, what feels like a good place to stop. Okay, so untangling the legs. Roll yourself over to one side, away from the wall. And we're going back to the mats to, again, end with something with blocks this time. So it's not energetic at all today. Well, it was energetic, but now I'm making it well lazier. So if you came to lessons earlier on this week, you'll know about cushions and blocks. So the pose I want to do this time is one where you've got your heart lifted, your ribs lifted, your head supported, but then your belly is off and you can open out yourself. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate it. So I've got 2 blocks. You could use cushions, you could use your roll up your yoga mat, and then you're going to lay down over it. So if you can see, my head is off the block. It's on the block, sorry, it's supported. My rib cage is on the block, but I've got a massive gap under my belly. My shoulders are not supported, and this is going to enable me to open out my heart. So you can achieve that with a cushion, you can achieve that with blocks, you could roll up a mat, you could roll up a couple of cushions in your house, you could get a pillow, you could use your mat. So yeah, anything whatever you're going to do, I'm just going to show it with a mat again. So I know some of you didn't come earlier on. You're going to, whatever it is you're going to use, again, you want that belly space to be free, and it's just basically round about your ribs up to your head wants to be supported by a column of some description, and then settle yourself down into the floor. And again, just adjust, you're kind of just making sure that wherever it is that you're not pressing on anything that feels unpleasant. You want to make sure that you feel happy about, what I'm asking with this, it's a heart movement. You want that heart to feel lifted and exposed. And again, allow yourself to fall back with ease and comfort. And then once you're there, start to extend your legs out if that is comfortable. And just spend some time with your breath. So I'm going to move into a little bit of pranayama in this pose, actually. So start to take your breath into your belly and just notice your breath in your belly. Feel your navel rise, feel your navel fall. Guiding your navel softly back into the spine. Just notice how your breath then starts to migrate into the chest. And again, just explore, expand. Take your time to feel the movement in your chest. Maybe just picture you could breathe into one lung at a time. Just notice how you breathe, actually. It's always interesting, to me anyway, to sense your breath in each lung. Picture breathing equally into both lungs. And then let the belly soften, and taking your breath into the whole self, the breath into the belly, into the chest, to the shoulders. So thinking now about your breath going into a natural rhythm. And we can begin to unpeel ourselves from our little block perch. So you press into the hands a little. You would roll everything out of the way and then repositioning yourself back onto the floor to settle down. So laying back down on your spine, on your back, and closing and settling in. Just admire your imprint. Hopefully you should feel a bit like you've got a renewed body at that point. And again, as you settle into this new self that you've created, we can again begin to bring our inner gaze towards the space between the eyes, again, this command center, where our witness sits. And just beginning to observe all the sensations you're feeling throughout the body. And settling into just wherever you feel comfortable, bringing your inner gaze in the body. Where has it gone to? Has it gone down towards the pelvis? So we've got the little chakra there, the muladora, self-preservation, survival, all the things that we need in our life to make us happy. Has it moved to Svadhisthana chakra, into the sacrum? Again, that place of pleasure, contentment and happiness. Do we have enough of it in our lives? Or do we have too little of it? Maybe we've moved our awareness into that belly area where we can feel the breath, Manipura chakra. So that place where we transform energy into action and power. So do we feel confident? Maybe your awareness has moved to Anahata chakra at the heart center. And again, that sense of love, compassion, friendliness. Maybe your awareness has moved to your throat, the Vishuddha chakra. The ability to communicate and listening. Or maybe your awareness is still in that mind in the command center, witnessing, observing everything. So if you could just bring that focus just to the ribs and the heart center. And in terms of the chakra, it's often said it's, you have a colour green. I mean, the chakras tend to be a rainbow colour, red at the base, orange at sacrum, yellow at the belly, green at the heart, blue at the throat. And then we get into the purples at the head. Well, if you're seeing another colour that sits better with you, just place it at your heart centre and just imagine it glowing, pulsing with your breath. And picturing the people that you'd love to send a little message out to. Maybe someone that you've not seen in a while. Picture that colour beginning to flow outwards from you. Going on a journey, maybe it's a long way, maybe it's just somebody downstairs, I don't know. Maybe it's somebody upstairs, I don't know. Just imagine that colour kind of surrounding them. Please sending out your love to them. And then imagine them radiating that love back to you. Maybe you want to send that love out to a few people. Then we can start just to reside back in the body. Just notice the sensations that flow. Notice how your breath has fallen into the body. Noticing how the mind is within the body. And just witnessing the self as it is in this here and now. We're not changing a single thing. I'm not going to ask you to bring your awareness back to your breath. You're just noticing what it's doing. Just noticing what your mind's doing. Noticing what your body wants to do. And it's said in Buddhist theory, well, you know, Buddhist traditions, that just beneath your heart you've got a kalpa. So I've said sankalpas before. Sankalpas are positive affirmations, but it's supposed to be located just beneath your heart. And you might have got one because we've done them a few times, I think, over in these lessons. It might be that every time you do it, you think, oh, I need one and it's got to be better than the last one. It doesn't matter. Just let one come into your mind. It's a positive statement that's in the here and now. So it's not like saying I'm going to go on a diet next week. It's never that. So I am strong, or my practice will help other people, or I am loving. Could be anything you want it to be. And then feeling your breath at the top of your lip. And starting to make some movements to make coming back to the world a little bit easier. Couldn't see any of you moving then. I'm thinking, oh my days, you've all decided just to go to sleep. That's fine, you could do that. And when I had my legs up to the wall, I thought, I wonder what to do. So just noticed that I'd started to snore. I could totally have gone to sleep then. Right, I'm going to stop the recording there.